both of us sort of knew that maybe we would pursue music because it's something that we love so much, but it was not like that decisive.
This is the Radio City Indie Exchange, and today we are joined by Kyra and Neha. I think they would hate me to introduce them as daughters of Amit Kilam of Indian Ocean fame, but actually, these two are such bright, enterprising talents, who have just created a sensation with the wonderful version of Roche. I'm sure you must have all heard of the popular Kashmiri song, which has been popularized in the past by Zeb Bangash and by Vibha Saraf. And now we have Kyra and Neha who have just come out with their version of the song, absolutely accompanied by Amit sir himself. And I'm just excited to speak to both of them. So welcome, Kyra and Neha.
Hi.
Okay, all right. Welcome, girls. So I want to firstly begin by asking, how deeply were you influenced by the earlier versions of Roche, which have been, like I mentioned, which have been sung by Zay Bangash and by Vibha Saraf for a web show earlier on Made in Heaven? Why was Roche the song that you both wanted to make your debut with?
Okay, so Roche has an interesting story. Actually, I heard Zeb Bangash's version from Coke Studio a
Yeah.
while ago, and because I generally listen to a lot of Coke Studio and it's always playing, so I kind of happened to memorize the song by listening to it like 1,000 times. And then Kyra also learnt it, and then one day we were singing it when we had gone to our grandmom's house, and then she was like, "Oh, Roche is like one of the really famous Kashmiri songs, and I really like it." And anyway, so that happened, and after that, it was her 70th birthday during the lockdown. It was one of the first lockdown birthdays in our family, so we wanted to do something, and we remembered that Roche was super like close to her, and she really liked it, and so we decided to make like a montage of videos and then put a recorded version of Roche as a track to that. And we did it in 2 days because we kept putting it off, and then lockdown laziness, and then after that it kind of happened. And yeah, that was for her birthday. And then when we were recording it, it just felt like it was uh, we all just really liked the song. It was like ये तो अच्छा बन गया. We didn't expect it to be like this. And yeah, then after a while we started thinking about releasing it, and it's really nice that this is our debut release, like, because it's a Kashmiri song and we really like the song, and it has a very personal meaning for all of us. So that's why I think we're very happy this was the first song. And that very deeply influenced by the other two versions. Yeah. And the like classic folk version. So it's like a culmination of all three of those.
But I must say, what a beautiful song to give to your grandmother, or as as a birthday gift. Because I remember messaging Yama, your manager, and telling her that I haven't stopped singing and humming the song ever since I've heard it. It's so beautiful, and I think you girls have done complete justice. And even if it's a homage or a tribute of a sort to the other two singers also who have, rendered their versions of the song. But I think what makes it so beautiful and what makes it resonate so much is, there's a very folksy, but also a very homely kind of a touch that both of you have added, with your version. I guess, I mean, I'm not a Kashmiri, I am a South Indian, but something about me makes me want to know about, how life takes in, in Kashmir's valleys. And I think Roche does give that personal touch. So was that what inspired both of you to pursue the song?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I'd heard the different versions like a lot, right? And
Yeah.
Vibha Saraf's version and Zebangas's version, but this version is like, if you notice, it's like a combination of many different Roches. So we've borrowed a lot,
Yeah.
and because there are some elements in the song that are very folky. So I think our uncle had gone to Kashmir and he happened to meet these folk artists who were singing Roche. And he took a video just to send to us because he knew we had made this song. So he was like, "Oh, let me just send it to them." And they sang it in a completely different manner. And upbeat song with like full percussion, and it was just a very fun song, a completely different feel. So we really liked that, and so when we were re-recording Roche for its final release, we
Yeah.
put some elements from that folk thing also. So directly from the valley, this song has come, if you think about it that way.
So when you finally decided to, approach Amit sir to, do the backing vocals for this song, so how much of his inputs were involved in the making of the song? Of course, he's quite a seasoned, artist himself, having, been in the indie scene for more than 3 decades. Uh, what kind of energies and inputs did he bring from a veteran's point of view, from an experience point of view?
He did almost everything. So when we were doing when we were recording it for her birthday, I think last year, then we were just singing. We were just doing the singing part of it. So all of the recording and the instruments and the vocals, the backing vocals, were all done by him. But also, like from the side, you were observing how he was doing it. So we sort of learned from that as well. But it was he's done most
Yeah,
of it.
because you
So-
see, we've never really recorded or made a song of our own before, right? So it was very new.
Right.
So it was like we were just obviously seeing what he was doing the whole time, and then that was the first time we recorded it, and then after a year, I think we were a bit more involved in the whole process of it because by that time we kind of got used to like okay, mics and recordings and system and software and all of that
We hadn't really seen a song being made like
just from scratch. So
yeah.
Right.
yeah,
was
he did
exciting
most
also.
of it. He ran the show most of it. But it was it. I mean, it obviously didn't feel like he was the only one who's doing it, and we are just like singing. It was a good balance. So that was lovely.
Of course, I guess y'all even premiered the song on your YouTube channel. You've created your own YouTube channel, and like many other artists who often release their songs on their own YouTube channels. So my question is that how digitally savvy, or how well informed are you about the resources that are at your disposal? Because as artists, I guess this becomes like your first hand knowledge. Okay, this is my song. Now, how do I put it out there to the universe? How do I make sure that it reaches these people? Especially both of you are pretty young. So, how well equipped were you when the song was ready and you just wanted to put it out there?
Again, because this is our first song, we had no idea about how promotions really happen, right? We were just like, okay,
Right.
people just go onto their Instagram and just post, you know,
Yeah.
a photo one day, then, a trailer the other day, whatever. So we didn't know, but it was really nice because we had a whole team, right? And then that team made this whole thing possible.
Right.
Because we by ourselves, if we had to promote this song, we wouldn't know where to start because we had to get an artwork, we had to get the song uploaded to the distributor and all of those things that we had not done before. And um, well, Papa knew about them, but still there was a whole team that had to go behind this to do it. And so without them, it wouldn't have been possible because we knew we had to make a YouTube channel at some point to make it accessible to like a larger audience because not everyone listens on Spotify or Apple or whatever. But our first thought was, oh my god, what are we going to do with a YouTube channel because we only have one song,
Right.
and it's just going to lie there. But I think, yeah, we're going to try filling it up soon.
Yeah.
But like it was nice to have everyone working on this together. It was like a huge family project, so it was
Yeah.
fun.
Right. Neha and Kyra, having grown up in the midst of, having seen your father really pave the way, be a trendsetter all his life, I'm sure somewhere all those influences must have rubbed on to both of you as, young minds wanting to pursue music. Was music always a conscious, was always a conscious decision on your part as young aspirants, or did it just was it something that kind of got inculcated in you, having seen your father do so many things in front of your eyes?
Good.
Uh, Music was sort of was always there. It has always been there. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like a conscious decision that we want to pursue music for sure, but it was always there. It was always something that we loved because we obviously grew up with it constantly being in the background. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think both of us sort of knew that maybe we would pursue music because it's something that we love so much, but it was not like that decisive. But I think it is more decisive now. So
Yeah, I mean, because of always being surrounded by different kinds of music and not just one, linear way of hearing music, because we had so many folk influences, influences from the band, influences from, like regional songs, things like that. So I think they kind of set a base in our heads for um always using music in life, but I think the conscious decision on our part was to say, okay, you know what, we want to be singers, so we're going to start learning now, the training starts now, the classes happen now. So I think that so it's a good mix of both, because
Yeah.
the decision making only came around when we thought that we want to do this professionally. But earlier we just, I think, set the taste of music that we do have, which we kind of pride ourselves on, because of the influence that we've had all around us.
I always look at the pandemic period as, a boon in disguise for independent artists, because it has led to a lot of discoverability. People have really sat down at leisure and they've heard artists, at their own disposal. And of course, a period like this becomes, a sort of it becomes a breakthrough moment for independent artists. For both of you, of course, with Roche being your first single, but what did you do in this period, or what is it that you ventured out into, uplifting or enhancing your artistic pursuit? Because I know a lot of musicians, they did their Instagram live. They, well, I mean, they became a lot more proactive on social media. Social media was really the mediator between creators and artists and their audiences during the period. So, how did you guys utilize this period to your advantage?
Well, there was a lot of time on our hands to uh, practice, A, and secondly, to make the song, because it's the whole project was a lockdown project. We didn't start this earlier, it all came in the lockdown. So I think if we didn't have the kind of time we did, and if it was business as usual, then I don't think Roche would have come about, because
Yeah.
we would have just gone to our grandmom's house on her birthday to celebrate and not made a
Yeah.
song or a video or anything. So, um, so the lockdown has been, important that way, because it led to the idea of Roche
Yes.
in the first place. And because we don't have any other songs and we've never done this before, I think this process only took up most of the time, because um, what would we have done on Instagram lives, right? We had no material. We only had one song. So I think it was a lot more personal that way. It was a lot more behind the scenes for us during the lockdown, more focused on practicing and continuing our classes, because we train as classical singers. So our class also moved online. And so, kind of just figuring that whole thing, like how do you sing classical music online with a teacher who's on, a different in a different part of the city. So I think, yeah, that was how our lockdown was musically.
and I
Uh,
think that even because of the lockdown, after we made it for our grandmom's birthday, and we were planning to record it again, we obviously spent more time together. Like we were always constantly together, so we talked more about this song, and that's how we were all equally involved in it. I think because it was not just like um, he's making it and that's it, we'll just come and sing. It was like we were all, everybody was just like an equal part of it, so you could just like, there was like brainstorming sessions. So it was really fun actually to do it in the lockdown, because you got to have more conversations about this than I think you would have.
So, Kaira and Maiha, there is a gamut of wonderful musicians out there, singer songwriters, bands. I mean, especially over the last few years, the last 4, 5.5 years, thanks to the digital boom, a lot of outfits have kind of mushroomed, and and especially with the pandemic having happened last year, there's been a complete takeover. Now, independent music really enjoys a lot of reputation. It enjoys a lot of respect and a lot of discoverability, which wasn't something which wasn't the norm about a decade back. Maya, Kyra, it's commendable how both of you are young, but yet y'all are so informed, and y'all have such clarity about how Indian music is, how the traditional school of music has been functioning over the years, and it's very, very applaudable, because I meet so many people, and I don't wish to sound like a boomer while I'm saying this, but really I've known so many people much younger than me who are very uninformed about how Indian classical music has been over the years. And it's not to their fault, actually. We just have a very rampant existing culture of remakes and remixes that have been adulterated into our conditioning in such a way that, it's hard to come across young minds who are so appreciable about, Indian classical music. And it's really to the credibility of both of you as young artists who want to, tread that path. And all I can say is I wish you both all the very best. Thank you so much for talking to me this afternoon over multiple connections, that is, over multiple connection issues that we have had over the last hour. But it's been such a joy to talk to both of you. And hopefully, when I do have the chance of, visiting a show that hopefully you guys will do for us in future in Mumbai, I'd be happy to attend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Radio City.